Hi, welcome back to Eric's Welsh Garden. Today I have a really interesting question to ask you. But before I ask that question, we're going to have to head inside because it started to rain. But before I head inside, have a look at my raised bed. Now I planted this earlier in the week, possibly about 8 days ago now, with some radish and some really old beetroot seeds. Now it doesn't look like those beetroot seeds have come to much yet, but the radish has certainly started sprouting, so I'm really happy with that considering it was so out of date. Hello, we're inside now. Unfortunately, as soon as I went out there to start filming, it started raining pretty much straight away, but it was a bit cold and I've got a lovely cup of tea now, so I'm quite happy to be inside really. I'm really happy though that the clocks going forward have really made such a difference. I know quite a few of you have been saying that getting to the plot on an evening has made things much easier now that, you know, the evenings are getting lighter, which is absolutely fabulous. Also, about half an hour ago, I had a phone call. It's about the allotment and it's some really, really exciting news. I can't go into any details now because it will spoil the surprise, but something really exciting is going on. I'm sorry I've not done very many videos this week. I had planned to film about 3, but unfortunately I've not been able to. Also, I'm working on a project at the moment. Probably some of you probably have already guessed or already know what I'm up to, but I don't want to spoil that surprise either if you don't know. So I'm really sorry. Bear with me. But I am working really hard in the background so that I can grow more food for my family, I can do things a lot better, and I can show you in more detail and have more stuff that I'm working on to be able to share with you really. So just bear with me, but I'm really sorry. But anyway, I have a question for you and I'll be really interested to hear what your answer is. And my question is, are you a lazy gardener or are you a bit of a fraud if you buy in plug plants? So at the beginning of the year I had planned that I wasn't really going to be doing any peppers this year. I had overwintered some cayenne peppers that I got reduced for 10p each last year, but I overwintered them in my attic and I didn't actually water them, so they did not make it through the winter unfortunately. But when I had grown the cayenne peppers last year, it's not me that really eats them in the family, and I did harvest a load and put them in the fridge and they didn't get touched. So to be honest, I thought this year I'm not going to be you know, growing any peppers because what's the point? But when I was at my gardening club a couple of weeks ago, last month, we had a gentleman come in and do a talk, and he's quite well known in kind of the community and he's a really good veg grower. He's been growing veg for like 50 odd years at his, you know, home. He had all these amazing slides that he, you know, actually he did have slides from when he first started out, but you know, obviously he's got a digital camera now because, you know, he's, yeah, you don't use slides anymore. But it was great to, you know, see how he gardened, and he's in the local area, so it was really great to see what he was growing in his polytunnels or in his garden comparing to what I want to grow here really. But he was explaining that he had 3 pepper plants and they were sweet pepper plants, and he had grown, yeah, like I think he said that he had a washing basket full of yellow peppers at the end of the season from 2 of these peppers. So it got me thinking really that actually sweet peppers, you know, they're quite expensive in the supermarket. They can be chopped up and frozen to be cooked throughout the year. And if I can grow some of those, that would be great. But, you know, this was like March time, mid-March, and, you know, we are getting pretty late now. If you want to have a really good supply of peppers throughout the year or throughout the summer, you really want to be planting them in about January time. But obviously mid-March, when I was thinking of starting some off, was a bit late really. But I did start some off and they have just germinated now, but you know, we are getting quite late now. And I was in town yesterday and I was just having a quick look around the shops because my appointment that I was going to was running a bit late. So I thought, oh, I'll have a quick look around. And when I went past one of the supermarkets, they had some vegetable plug plants outside. So I couldn't resist it, you know, but I picked up some sweet pepper plants here. And I think they're called Marconi yellow. And I couldn't resist it really. They're £2 for 6. And I thought to myself, do you know what? £2 for 6. As long as I get, you know, a couple of peppers off each one, I probably made my money back. But it got me thinking, because actually, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said, only lazy gardeners buying plug plants. But actually, I disagree with that, and I've changed my mind now, because I actually don't think you are really lazy if you do buy plug plants, because actually, if it gets people interested in gardening that maybe haven't done it before, then it's not too bad of a thing, really. There are quite a few companies out there that you can go and spend like £30 or £40, and they will actually send you a couple of deliveries throughout the year of different plug plants that can go in one of your raised beds. And I think that's actually not that bad. Like I say, a couple of years ago, I would have said, actually, that's really lazy. But nowadays, we are so busy with so much other stuff that actually time is a really, really valuable commodity. And I don't think anymore that I would ever slate anybody for buying in plug plants. And actually, £2 for these, you know, you might think that's actually quite expensive. I know quite a lot of the cheaper budget supermarkets at the moment that have their weekly specials are doing like 4 plug plants for £1.79. But actually, when you think about it, if that's a courgette plant, you get about 20 courgettes growing on one of those plug plants, and you maybe pay, what, 75p for that. I think that's pretty good value for money, because tonight we went to the supermarket to buy some courgettes for a recipe, and it's £2 for a kilogram of courgettes. So actually, I don't really think anymore that there's anything wrong with buying in plug plants whatsoever. But I thought I'd give you that question, and you know, it'd be really interesting for you to tell me if you think I'm a lazy gardener for buying in plug plants, or if you agree that actually, you know, nowadays we are so busy, and actually some things, like with flowers, some of the flowers that I planted by seed this year never came up, but they're quite cheap to buy as plug plants, and some of those seeds aren't really easy to germinate. Or another thing is, I don't have a greenhouse at the moment, and actually if I suddenly get the greenhouse up in the next couple of weeks and then you know, start things off by seed, I might be too late. So actually, you know, also, it's not just about, you know, time, it's about space. You know, I'm quite lucky in this house. I have 6 very big windows in the front of the house, and every single one of those windows has a really big windowsill, which means I can probably get far too many veg growing on those windowsills. But because I've got a young family, my daughter is able to reach all of those, bar one of those windowsills. So actually, I've not been able to use and utilise them this year. So yeah, I just thought, quite an interesting question. And yeah, also, if you do buy in plug plants and you're either in, you know, anywhere in the world, let us know where is selling good value for money plug plants at the moment, because it might inspire somebody to have a go at growing something they haven't grown before, or, you know, it might just get, you know, people involved. And that's actually funny. I know I'm going on now, I'm really good at that, but I have been trying to do this little thing recently, and that is, I am trying to inspire other people to get into gardening that are not interested whatsoever. So Liz Zorap gave me all of those strawberry plants the other day, and there's a mum on the school run that I'm really friendly with, and you know, she does gardening, I do gardening, we go to a gardening club together. And I'm sorry, this is really going on now, but you know, we go to a gardening club together and we both garden. So I gave her some of those because she'd said in the last storm we had, was it Storm Gareth or something, her strawberry plants had got knocked over and hadn't survived because they got covered over in that storm, and she didn't realise. So I gave her some of those, which was great that I could give her some. But then I was chatting to my neighbour, and my neighbour was asking me about my allotment, did I still have my allotment and stuff, and I was saying about my garlic was growing there, and anyway, I was going on. Of course, I was chatting to her for ages because I'm good at that. But she was then saying, oh, what was I planting? And I said, oh, these strawberries. And she was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I was like, well, I've got quite a few left over from my friends, so do you want some? And she was like, yeah, I could. And anyway, I then gave her some strawberry plants, which she's now planting in some of her spare pots that she's got in the garden. So I thought that I I planted the seed by just, you know, chatting with her, and she's now growing some strawberries this year. And then she was telling me that back, you know, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, she grew some potatoes in the garden. And then that was kind of, you know, didn't go any further than that. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I've got absolutely loads of potatoes. So my next plan is that when I see her next, I'm going to say to her, I've got some spare seed potatoes. So I'm hoping she's going to take them and they're going to grow some potatoes this year, because I'm really hoping that I can kind of like get, you know, her back into gardening, because they've got a really lovely garden, and I know they have space for vegetables. So I'm hoping that I can kind of, I don't know what you called what I'm doing, trying to get her into, like, you know, the strawberries are a gateway plant, and hopefully, yeah, the next thing will be potatoes. So yeah, but I'm actually really glad. When I did my video about potatoes a little while ago, I said that I was going to be putting some potatoes in at my allotment. And then after I'd met that gentleman at my gardening club, he said that he always puts his potatoes in the 3rd week of April, because they always get hit by frost. Now, if I had planted the potatoes at my allotment back just around St. Patrick's Day, potentially they may have just been coming up now, and we have had a big mega frost last night. So I am so glad that I listened to him, and I'm definitely going to hold off another week or two before I put in my potatoes. But have any of you put your potatoes in yet? Anyway, I really am going on now, but because I've not been doing many videos, I feel like I've got so much stuff that I want to talk to you about, and I've got a cup of tea now, so like I could probably go on for absolutely ages, but I'm really not. So I'm going to head off now. But if you're still watching and you're not a skeleton, you know, just like died of old age, listening to me, then I hope you've enjoyed. And if this is the first time you're watching me, I hope I haven't bored you too much. And if you like it, please do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you can be notified of all of my latest videos. I know I say this all the time, but I have got so much planned, and I've got some really cool things up my sleeve. This is going to be so exciting this year. So thanks very much for watching.